So good afternoon, everyone. My personal journey around data collection, knowledge sharing, started in 2005 when I was in a lifeboat accident where my wrist literally went back. Multiple fractures. My friends call me the Iron Man because I had steel plates, rods, screws, etc. After I came back home, over a period of few months, I did what the sailors always do. We gossip about our companies, our masters, our chief engineers. And what came out was that incident, which my company at that time called it a freak accident, wasn't actually as freak as we thought. It had already happened in many other companies. The challenge was it wasn't shared. 15 years down the line, I still like to test whether any of the companies still know that this kind of freak accident can happen. 15 years counting, still, none of the companies have shared that information. So why don't companies share data? The answer is simple. The fear of repercussion. I call it the parent-child effect. You know, as parents, we want our kids to come and tell us what wrong they have done. How many of us actually have the courage to tell them, no, it's all right? If you're an Asian parent, you know what's going to happen. Time and resource constraints. You keep asking data, but how do companies share it? I mean, companies don't have that much of resource to collect that level of information and share it. And the last being, there's no personal gain. Fine, if I'm a company, I've shared that information with you, what am I going to get back in return? So what should we do differently? We need to change the culture. And probably one way of doing it is asking three basic questions. How do we safeguard their interests? How do we make shipping companies comfortable to share the data? How do they benefit from the output? Do we give them something valuable or just some trend analysis and you know, you have a superintendent, an HSE superintendent looks at it and says, what do I do with it? Let me pass it to the ships. And we know what happens after that. How do we make it easy to share data? We keep asking people to fill up forms and you know, different structures, but is that really a good use of their time? So we need to make it easy for them. So how have other industries approached it? I won't go into too much details, but if you take the aviation industry, way back in '76, when I think some of us weren't even around at that time, there was an incident in the US, it was the Transworld airline accident, where they realized that about 4 weeks before, another aircraft had been through the similar situation, but the information wasn't shared and the aircraft crashed. And that led to the birth of this organization called Aviation ASRS, which is the Aviation Safety Reporting System. Similar organizations have come up in the world, and one being in the UK, probably you all have heard of CHIRP. Very close to home, RSSB, the Railway Safety Standard Board, which came into existence after the Ladbroke Rail incident in Paddington. Again, a situation where the rail operator, the train driver, jumped the signal because he thought it was green rather than red, and investigation showed that 6 times in the same spot the signal had been jumped. Information was there, but not shared. It's been 4 years and counting. I'm yet to find this kind of knowledge-sharing platform. The question is why? Shipping companies hold the best data to permanently improve the industry. It's not in the public domain. It's all with the shipping companies itself. And what data are we talking? The entire industry is in the middle, the blue section. This is the stuff that companies report because something has gone wrong. You need to go to a P&I club, you need to go to an insurance company, you've got some port state control which has seen it. So this is all stuff that either is in the public domain or companies have to report it. You might have an oil major which has done an inspection. The gold dust is on the left. which is before an undesired event or a high impact event happens, which are the internal data. Once again, if we don't tap into that data, we will never be able to bring about that step change in the maritime industry. This is my last slide. So what is the recipe of success? Is on the left. It's the 3 pillars of data sharing. That's what we believe in. The first is trust. You need to develop trust with the companies to share the data and cannot penalize them for sharing it with them. Second is a quality output. The output should not be just some trend analysis, some frequency analysis. It has to be something meaningful. And the third is different types of ships. As an industry, we are so focused, for example, on tankers. We're forgetting bulk carriers kills a lot of people. Containers, I won't go there. And passenger ferries, I think you all know what happened the weekend. I'll just mention about HiLo here. So what we have is a predictive model. And we are an independent company. So currently we have data which comes from 42 companies, which is roughly around 3,000 ships. And when I'm talking about data, this is the gold dust. This is the near misses, the whatever nomenclatures you have, near misses, unsafe acts, et cetera, et cetera. And why do they share it with us is because we are completely independent. We are able to, tick mark those three pillars. So if any other organization wants to do it, you have to tick mark those 3 pillars. And our results in 2018 were that we were able to reduce 72% reduction in the risk of lifeboat incidents, 65% reduction in risk of the engine room fires, and 25% reduction in bunker spills. This is over a fleet of roughly, at that time we had around 1,800 ships and about 25 companies roughly. I'll end my presentation here with only one thing, that if we want to fundamentally bring a shift in our industry to improve safety, from a company's perspective, we need to develop a trust to share the information. And as an industry perspective, we need to get rid of this parent-child syndrome. Otherwise, we're going to get nowhere. Thank you very much.